It's the next level.
Hmm? Ah! Oh.
I have to. If I don't...
I'm all messed up inside. You know it.
This is our best chance.
There's no chance. Really. I mean, look where we are.
I'm not gonna let you give up.
I know you made a promise. I'm letting you off the hook. Let me go, Jeff.
I'm sorry.
Don't be.
Welcome, survivors, back into this episode 12 of We Have to Go Back, Lost Revisited from the Next Level Podcast Network. I am Ben Beck.
From Podcastica, I'm Kristin Howell.
And we're back to it. We are almost finished with season 1. I think we have 4 more weeks of us before we're wrapping up season 1. I think it's how many episodes do we have left? I think there's one more
There's 2 more before Exodus begins, I think.
Yeah, I know.
Because Exodus is three episodes, right?
It's well, it was a 2-part finale, and the second part was 2 hours, so it was technically 3 episodes. Yeah, but so there's 5 actually, because there's so that would be 4 weeks, because we have 4 weeks after this. There's next week is The Greater Good. Born to Run is after that, and then we're doing Exodus Part 1, and then we're doing Exodus Part 2, 1 and 2. It's weird. I feel like people have already turned it off.
I know. I this has been such an exciting beginning to this week's podcast.
I know. I apologize. I apologize ahead of time.
Listening to you just think.
It's well, I mean, people should keep tuning in, because it's not every day you can physically hear a train derail. And that's exactly what our listeners just got for the past 2 minutes.
Yep, there you go.
Trying to come up with a great intro towards the end of towards the end of us talking about season 1, and train off the tracks.
I had a glass of wine with lunch, so
we're good. But yet it's still my fault that this train derailed. So
I can't explain yours. Sorry.
No, but this week we're going to be talking about episode
20.
Episode 20. That's it. My mind went blank.
Do no harm. Here, let me start.
There you go.
This
go for
episode, we continue on as we review and break down 2 more episodes of the first season, 1 more episode of the first season. Episode 20, Do No Harm. We're a train wreck today. This is awesome.
Yep. Oh, it's all right. This is what happens when you go weekly and you have to keep to a schedule now. But
we are a spoiler-filled podcast. I'm just going to keep going. Yeah. We are a spoiler-filled podcast. We do 1 a week now, whereas we did 2 episodes per episode. We have switched over to a weekly format, which is a little bit easier and for me a lot more fun.
Yeah. Me as well.
And I believe that we publish every Friday. So happy Friday, everybody who listens the day it comes out.
And for those of you who's also celebrating, happy payday, because I'm sure many of you, it will be payday on Friday as well.
It's payday.
Those are always good days.
Yep.
But yeah, every episode we are going to break down one of the next episodes of the season of Lost. Still currently in season 1, and for right now, until we finish out season 1, we're only going to do a top 3. Once we get into season 2, though, we are going to start breaking down into a top 5 moments of the episode, because there's going to be a lot more to break down to each episode once we get into those. And hopefully into season 2 as well, we're going to start bringing on some guest hosts, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. So we already have a couple people lined up that we know we're going to reach out to guest host with us as we go through. But if you are interested in being a co-host of one of the episodes, very simply, just wait until listen in at the end of the podcast to hear all of our contact information, and that'll be how you can get a hold of us and let us know that you wanna come on.
There you go.
But yeah, so episode 20 of season 1, Do No Harm. Let's just get right into it before we start derailing more trains and talking about some other stuff that we really don't need to be talking about on this podcast. Let's save that for later.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so, we do have a lot to talk about, or, this episode is different to me. And I'm going to kick off the top 3 this week, if you don't mind.
I don't.
And I'm going to kick it off with my number 3, and my number 3 is what I mean by this episode is very different, in that this episode, we're 20 episodes in. This is the first time, I think, all season we are getting a very straightforward, nothing mysterious. This is pure drama. There's really nothing to overanalyze this episode, at least not that I came across. You might feel differently.
Well, so there were like a couple of like numbers that came about. Sarah Shepard was wearing a white T-shirt with
a 44,
the black numbers of white and black, 44, and the number 8. Jack's groomsman, his best friend, said that he was going to drink 8 drinks. That's about it, though.
Yeah, but I think that might be, the truest sense of overanalyzing. I mean,
well,
trust me.
Yeah, I mean, there was more, too. There was, the sense of Jack and his father sharing a liquid in a glass bottle, when Jacob and the man in black share liquid in a glass bottle later. So it could be, foreshadowing for the man in black and the protector of the island. But that's all, like you said, that's all very overanalyzing. But as far as just the episode, as far as a standalone, I would agree. This is very straightforward. There was literally 2 things to focus on, and that was life and death, very bluntly.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. I thought it was a great send-off for Boone. I thought it was, woven together very nicely with Claire. I agree. It was a good standalone, straight drama episode.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that I think the writers were very smart to do in showing that not only can they bring these mysteries to the forefront, but, they were able to set them aside for an episode and actually be able to tell a story. They were able to further progress these characters, at least a couple of the characters, without revealing more questions that the audience was going to have throughout. I mean, there was no black smoke monster, there was no Hatch, no John Locke, no planes falling from cliffs, or where the plane came from. This was literally an episode of one character giving birth and another group of characters trying to save another character's life. And in essence, as you mentioned, this episode was no mystery. It was purely life and death. And I think that was really smart at this point to do so. From the writer's standpoint, again, to be able to show that they're able to tell a story. They're not all just about supernatural or whatever it is. There's no shrouded mystery in this. Now, we could be totally wrong. I could be totally wrong. And some of the viewers or some of our listeners might have noticed some things. I certainly looked at Sarah's number 44 on the shirt, and of course, being the way I've been lately, as the moment I saw that number, first thing popped in my mind. What does that mean? But I couldn't think of anything this time. I really couldn't. It's not any of the numbers. I didn't know what it meant. I think it was simply just the design of the shirt.
Maybe.
So,
Or maybe it's such a straightforward episode. Let's just see where we can put in some of the numbers just to do it.
but again, it's that's not one of the numbers.
Well, 4 is.
Yeah, but doubling up yeah, I guess maybe.
Hey, I'm just the messenger.
No, you're a co-host. You should be overanalyzing things with me.
I overanalyze enough on every other week. I could take a back seat.
All right. So my number 3 for this week is simply, again, episode very straightforward. Not really a lot of new questions, no answers from previous questions, but no new questions have come up. It's straight life and death, and that's about it. Mm-hmm. So, what about you? What's your number 3 for this week?
So my number 3 was just the concept of people stepping up. We had a lot of people that usually hang around in the back, or they haven't been, people that do a lot, that are stepping up in a very stressful situation. The first one that I noticed who stepped up was Sawyer. Sawyer, is usually bartering, and he's like, I'll give this to you if you give me something else. And he gives everybody a hard time. And he gave all of his alcohol willingly and wanted to go with Kate back to the caves to try and help. And that's a new Sawyer for us, to see him genuinely concerned about someone else, wanting to do everything he could to help. And then I really enjoyed at the very end when he saw Aaron for the first time, the baby. We still don't, we know his name is Aaron. But when Claire shows up with her baby on the beach, they paused on his face, and he looked so happy to see that baby. It was such a happy, uncomplicated moment. And that was just really great to see kind of a new Sawyer pop up a little bit. I was really impressed that it wasn't a haggle for the alcohol. Jin was another one. Jin had no idea what anybody was saying, and he didn't want to talk to Sun, but he did everything in his power to help Claire. And when Claire was scared, he had this amazing conversation with her, and they were each speaking a different language, and he was comforting. He was comforting to Charlie. He knew exactly when to sit back and when to be a part of things. Jin really stepped up, and I thought that was fantastic. Sun is another one that's stepped up. I don't know if she has medical training, but she sure was the best triage nurse Jack could have asked for.
Yeah, she was.
She knew what to do. She knew when he needed to take a break. She knew when to stop. She did not hold back in her opinions. I was really impressed with Sun and what she was able to accomplish. And finally, Kate. Kate did not want to deliver that baby. Kate did not like any part of that, and she was scared. But then once she realized that she was going to have to deliver the baby, she became such a great support to Claire. And she said, this is all of our babies. And, that's great foreshadowing to what is going to be of her and Aaron later. But I really, really loved how everybody stepped up for Boone and stepped up for Claire in a very chaotic and impossible set of situations.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up the whole Sawyer thing too, because it's not one of my top 3, but it is definitely in my notes that I made for this episode, in that how not only did he step up and give all the alcohol when Kate needed it, but there was no hesitation.
None.
When he did so. Like, he knew there was something drastic happening, and he didn't even question it. He asked questions later, but at the time when Kate had said, we need all your alcohol now, without hesitation, stepped up and went to give the alcohol to Kate without even knowing what the situation was. Mm-hmm. So you're right. So this is a completely different side of Sawyer that we're actually going to start seeing now throughout the course of this, the run of this series. And it's, granted, we're still going to see a couple steps back to the old Sawyer every once in a while, but he is definitely a changed person at this point. He is willing to help when help is needed. It's not just for his own benefit anymore.
Yeah, he seems more relaxed too. I mean, even in the scene before Kate showed up on the beach and he was talking with Michael and talking to Claire.
She likes me.
I know. He just seemed relaxed, like he's settled into some kind of everyday life. And I think that we are not seeing fight or flight Sawyer. We're seeing everyday Sawyer, right?
Yeah.
You see the side of Sawyer that people probably like a lot, you know? It's that whole fresh start thing, right? Everybody gets a new start on the island. And just speaking of that little scene, it was so funny because when he said, "Oh, do you want some fish?" and she said, "No, I'm not really hungry." Immediately, I thought, "Yep, that's labor." Because before you go into labor, you're just not hungry anymore.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I didn't think that at all.
I was like, "Oh, good for you." I went with it.
I bought it.
Yeah, I bought it. Yeah, so I appreciated because I wasn't a mom the first time I watched this, or the second time I watched this, but now as a mom, you know, and knowing what's about to come and later in the episode, I was able to kind of fondly remember both times I almost went into labor thinking, yeah, you're not hungry right before you go into labor. Like your body just knows, nah, we shouldn't eat right now.
You know, but also tacking onto your point a little bit too, I think it goes a little bit beyond, you know, everybody stepping up. And I also think it, you know, to add another step to that, it goes beyond stepping up and also goes to putting differences aside, even if just for the moment. Because, you know, Sawyer and Jack don't exactly get along, but he's able to put his differences aside because he knows Jack's needs this alcohol now. So he knows he's not going to impede Jack trying to save somebody's life. He's putting his differences aside, giving him what he needs. But on top of that, you have two characters in Jin and Sun who are not talking to each other at all, who begin talking to each other again because Sun needs to translate for Jin. So when it comes to the moments of desperation and things needing to be fixed or helped, these are two characters who, like Sawyer and Jack, were able to put their differences aside and, at least for the moment, and make it so that Sun was able to translate for Jin.
I love that you just said that. I don't know why, but that really just touched me. I just I got a little weepy there as you were talking because you're totally right. And you know, Jin and Sun are my favorite little arc. So I did love that moment very much. And to take your point a step further is that you could say, you know, that the island they're less survivors and they're turning into a community.
Yeah.
You know, they're able to work together. And I think that the baby being born is a really great beginning to that community. You know, it takes a village to raise a child, and you're going to see that on the island as time progresses.
Yeah. No, I agree with that completely.
So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is kind of going to tie into my number 1 a little bit, but I'm just going to go with one certain element of it. And that I mentioned at the top of this episode, there's no John Locke in this episode. But John Locke in spirit is in this episode. And there is one particular moment that I completely forgot about. And there is a moment where towards the end of the episode when Jack is trying to save Boone's life and he's ready to take Boone's leg so that he can stop the pooling of blood in Boone's leg.
Such an intense moment.
And what makes it even more intense is Sun tells him, you shouldn't be doing this.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
And what are the lines that come out of Jack's mouth? Don't tell me what I can't do. Where have we heard that from before?
Like a million times from Locke. That's like his mantra.
Yeah. So, I mean, while John Locke is not in this episode physically, he's there in spirit. And it's very interesting to hear Jack, of all people, say these words because these two people, I mean, are complete opposites so far to this point. And one is a man of science, one is a man of faith. So, but to see that there is a common element between the two of them in that they do not like being controlled. And
they also don't like to fail.
Well, that kind of goes into my number 1 as well.
Oh.
So I'm kind of staying away from that a little bit. But But yeah, I mean, like, we're seeing that as different as these two characters are, in just this one moment, we are seeing a common similarity, one of the common similarities between the two. And just hearing those words come out of Jack's mouth, I had completely forgotten that he even says those words. I don't think I'd ever clicked with me that he does. And then watching this episode, that was kind of like a startling moment to me because I didn't realize that happens. So
Yeah, it was a good moment because I think, especially anybody that's following this podcast and preparing notes and preparing to podcast just as a whole, you pick up on more stuff like that. I mean, probably the first couple times you watch this series, you think, oh, John Locke says that, right?
yeah,
And then you keep going with Boone's death. But in this one, you're like, John Locke says that. I have to write it down right now.
exactly.
So it's funny what podcasting does to your interpretation of television, for sure, or anything, right?
And not only that, but I think one of the things I'm really liking about doing this podcast the way we're doing it and doing one episode a week is, we said in the very beginning, one of the most difficult parts about this would be to not keep watching. Watch one episode and stop there and not keep watching. But in all honesty, in all of my previous watch throughs of Lost, with the exception of the first, because I had no choice but to wait for the next week, I would binge the series. I would watch one episode. I would watch as many episodes as I could, in a day's time. I'm actually really enjoying taking a break in between every episode because it's giving me that opportunity to kind of sit and let everything that happened in that 42 minutes sink in. And, be able to take the notes and talk about it. So I've gotten to a point already just in this first season, the rewatch of this first season, that I'm actually enjoying the show a little bit more, watching one and then stopping, and then watching two and then stopping. So I'm actually really glad we decided to change the format of this, and I'm okay not binging this show now because of this. Because I have a feeling that had I binged, another 2 or 3 episodes, by the time I got to like the end of the season, the whole Jack saying those words probably would have been forgotten. So
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
So I don't know. I don't know about you, but I'm actually enjoying slowing the pace and taking this a week at a time again.
Oh yeah, I'll take anything off of my plate in the week, so I'm fine with that.
What about you? What's your number 2 for this episode?
So my number 2 is just basically Boone's death. Boone's death.
All right.
It's the first time a major character has died on the show. And incidentally, though, he does go on to appear. I looked this up. He goes on to appear in 10 more episodes, which is the most episodes of any deceased character in the series. So, that's good. I guess there was a lot of questions of why on earth would they get rid of Boone. And it was, the writers had said that it was necessary for John Locke's story to move forward, that Boone had to die, which is fine. I understand that. It's such a shame that this is what had to happen to a character that was really starting to come into his own on the island. And I do agree with Jack in a certain sense that if it wasn't for Locke and Locke's manipulation of Boone, and this ridiculous dream, that, Boone would absolutely still be alive. I have a question for you.
Okay. If
Jack had known about Boone's real cause of injuries, do you think that could have saved Boone's life? And so I'm saying, if Locke hadn't lied about how Boone got hurt, would that have changed the course of what Jack did?
So if Locke had told him that his legs were crushed by something rather than falling off a cliff.
That he was in a plane that they found. We found a plane, and the plane fell off of the cliff into a ravine, because Locke didn't really lie. He did fall off of a cliff. He just happened to be inside an airplane when he fell off the cliff.
Very true. You know what? I don't know. It's an interesting question because if if Jack knew if Jack knew
Don't ship them,
I
okay?
oh god if Jack knew that his legs had been crushed, which he does seem to kind of know. You know what? I'm gonna take a shot and say no. I think Boone was kind of doomed from the start, and only because of the fact that he didn't know that the blood was pooling to his legs until he did a transfusion.
Right, but I mean, look, I'm not a doctor. I don't know too much about compartment syndrome other than what I've learned on Grey's Anatomy. But I don't know what the difference is between falling off of a cliff and having your legs crushed by heavy metal, and how that would change the course of action for a broken femur.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, I don't know. That's why I'm saying I think he was doomed. I think he.
Well, I think Kate knew the minute she saw him when Luck showed up with Boone. I mean, Kate's face said it all.
Yeah, I think. I don't really. I think there was nothing he would have been able to do to save Boone. I'm. That's my opinion on it. I think Boone was kind of doomed from the moment he went over that cliff. That he was a goner. I don't really think what Jack did would have changed had he known his legs were crushed. But then again, maybe he would have, if he knew his legs were crushed, he could have known there was a chance that the blood would pool. So maybe he would have held off on the transfusion. So
I mean, I've
don't
seen
know.
and again, the only thing I've ever seen this on is in Grey's Anatomy, but I think you have to like slice the legs to get the blood to come out. Now, I don't know at what point you have to do that and at what point it's too late, or if that's even a thing, because again, not a doctor.
Yeah.
I just watch a lot of medical stuff. But because when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's like from Grey's Anatomy. He's gonna slit his legs, because I forgot what happened exactly in that scene, but it didn't happen, and so I'm like, okay. And then when he said he was gonna cut off his leg, I just thought, this is just gonna go horribly. And then he's like, get Michael. I'm like, Michael? What is Michael gonna do? Like, what could Michael possibly have to do with any of this? And Michael just looks like he wants to be anywhere else but where he is.
Well,
like,
and then, on top of that too, you look at people like Hurley, and I'll tell you what, if there was any one character in this entire situation I felt more like, it was Hurley.
when Jack goes, I swear to God, if you say it right now.
I remember the first time watching this episode being so engrossed in everything that's going on with Jack trying to save Boone's life. And just like, you get to that scene where Hurley looks like he's ready to pass out and Jack's yelling at him not to. And I'm like, oh, I feel for you, man. Like, I totally get where you're coming from, because I probably would have done the same thing. And then there's the whole part where, he sets his leg and Boone starts screaming and Hurley's just out there covering his ears. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's no way I could have even been there. I would have had to have left that cave if I was Hurley.
I don't know. I mean, not to get too personal, but my daughter was recently hospitalized, as you know, and she had to have some tricky stuff done, and my son was really bothered by it, and he went into the corner of the room and he was screaming and crying with his hands over his ears, and all I did, I wanted to bolt, but you stay. It's weird. You stay because you care about that person. And granted, it was my daughter, but I think I would have stayed for anybody that I really cared about and had grown to know. Even if your whole body is saying you want to run, you stay. It's weird.
Okay. I'm gauged a little differently, only because I was a first responder, and so my mentality is more to go towards that sound than anything else. So it's tough for me to kind of gauge it. But just looking at the uncomfortableness that Hurley went through, if I were Hurley, I probably would have tried to leave the cave.
Yeah, poor Hurley.
So I mean, it's
and the batteries are dead on his Discman.
It's true. So he can't even listen to any music to kind of drown out the sound.
He can't listen to his rap music.
And I just love too during that scene when Sun comes in with the tree branch, and says, use this for the pain. And Jack's first inclination is, I think we're past herbalistic medicine at this point. And she puts it in his mouth for him to bite down.
I know. She's like, listen, dick.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Jack was in an impossible situation that entire episode, just impossible. But you got to hand it to him for being able to do what he did.
Listen, dick.
I know. But I mean, he was screaming at everybody. It's funny because in my notes, I'm like, Jack's screaming at this person, Jack's screaming at that person. Like, he's just screaming at Hurley, screaming at Charlie, screaming at Sun, screaming at Kate. He's screaming at, he's screaming at Boone for a little bit, screaming at Hurley. It's so funny to me because his reaction to stress is to just start screaming at everybody. and then the only time he ever calmed down was because half of his blood volume was in Boone and he didn't have the energy to start screaming anymore. Which, is another really great line that Charlie had later when Kate's like, well, where's Jack? Why isn't he coming? Like, Jack needs to be here. And he's like, he's literally pouring his own blood into Boone right now. He's not coming.
Yeah.
Deliver the fucking baby.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, oh my God. There's so much intensity in this episode.
Great episode. You know that the writer for this episode only wrote this one episode. Didn't write another one.
Really?
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's intriguing to me. Maybe because he didn't put any Lost flares in it.
It was actually a woman writer.
Oh, well, I take it back. It's a she.
There you go.
Well, I'm fine with that. I have no problems with that.
No, I just thought it was interesting.
No, it is. It's extremely interesting. I find it interesting that somebody would come in and only write one episode. And I think maybe it's the fact of what this episode entailed, being life and death. Maybe this writer was the best one to handle that topic.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
she did an excellent job.
Yeah. I mean, it might have been the situation, again, with the situation with the episode of where there was no lost flourishes on it. It was literally just life and death. That was the story that they were telling. Everybody else probably who was writing for the show was one of those people that, was already in the Lost mindset of like, what can we throw in? What can we throw in? And maybe they just needed somebody who could tell a life and death story without putting any of that Lost flourish on it. And that's why they handed it to her.
So it's like if Walking Dead did a bottle episode, but made it with everybody.
Yeah.
Like X-Files. So X-Files has the myth arc, and then they have the standalone episodes.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Like, here's an episode where it's only about whatever case this is, but then the next 3 episodes are going to be about this overarching myth arc of the entire series.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where they brought her in. They said, okay, look, here's where this episode's going to begin. Here's where it has to end. You write the middle. I like it. And that's what they did. And if that's the case, it worked. It absolutely worked.
I think it was this was an excellent episode. Followed up by really a fantastic episode anyways. I mean, Deus Ex Machina was fantastic, and then it's followed up with the drama, the intensity, and the heartbreak of this episode, and you really have a great 1-2 punch here.
Yeah exactly. And and it's one of those moments where we're getting ahead of ourselves and talking about some of the leftover notes that we have, but you have this entire episode that builds on the drama of this crisis that is happening at the moment, and that being Boone is dying, and how do you save Boone's life? And you can't save Boone's life, and at the same time a new life is coming into the world in the island as well, and you get that really touching moment of everybody meeting Aaron for the first time on the beach, and then it drops down again, and you get the next moment is the sadness of Shannon with Boone, which as many times as I've seen that episode still gets me.
I cried. I watched it twice in 24 hours, and I still cried both times.
Just the silence of it, and nothing but the music behind it. That moment still gets me every damn time. Still got me when I watched it last night. Every time. But
I have a connection as you were talking.
Okay.
this is interesting. So Boone didn't want the medication to be used on him. He lets Jack off the hook. He's like, just let me go. I think we both know what's going on here. Jack is ready to use all of his resources on Boone, much like he was ready to use all of his resources to save the U.S. Marshal who was dying. And that guy said, I'm going to die. Like, both of the victims had to say, I think it's too late for me.
Well, you know what?
Right?
I'm going to use this. Well, I'll let you finish your point. Sorry, I didn't want to jump on you.
That's okay. But everybody around Jack is screaming at him that it's too late. And really, I mean, I think it comes to that question of, when do you stop? Should he have tried to save Boone? When, like, of course he triages him and he sees the extent of his injuries, but when is it, when you're in that sort of a situation, that you have to stand back and say, am I really able to do this? I mean, the fact that, one of them has to go to the ocean to go get a sea urchin just to get a needle to do a blood transfusion. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you're working with right now. And if he doesn't want to use herbal remedies on an island that seems to be full of magic, then what on earth are you expecting to do here?
Yeah. No, I agree with that completely. But I'm going to use this to jump into my number one.
Do it.
It kind of touches base with my number one a little bit.
Yeah, do it, man.
We're seeing the return of Jack's hero complex. But I think it actually goes deeper than just a hero complex at this point. I think we are seeing... I mean, and I know we joke a lot about saying Jack is the worst and Jack is the worst.
Because he is.
And for the most part that he is. But I really don't feel like that kind of qualifies for Jack in this episode. I have come to respect Jack so much more because of this episode. Granted, his hero complex is back in full effect. He's willing to use all the resources. But I think that goes to show you, one, as you mentioned, Jack, like Locke, is afraid of failure. He doesn't want to fail. But it also goes to show you that I think he is well put to be the leader of this group, because he's willing to sacrifice not only all of these resources, but himself. I mean, when nobody else was available to step up to do this blood transfusion, he's the one that does it. And I mean, it gets to the point where, like, he's almost ready to pass out himself. Like, he's in such a weakened state, but he's still continuing to push forward. And one of the things that I remember being a question going back is, what does the backstory of Jack and his wedding have anything to do with this story? And looking at it more and analyzing it a little bit more, I think it's extremely important to this story, because we're seeing two different scenarios where Jack was not willing to give up. And we're also going to see where it's going to lead to his downfall, because we're seeing a wedding that we know, at least now as viewers, does not last. And there's even a moment where, and this was my overanalyzing moment of it, is after the flashback of Jack saying his vows, and it cuts back to present day. It's right as Jack is ready to bring the luggage carrier down onto Boone's leg to cut it. The very first scene you see is a close-up of Jack's hand. It's focused on Jack's hand with Jack's face in the background out of focus. And I'm like, ooh, I think that's them telling us there's no ring on his finger. Like, this wedding that we just saw does not last. But it's his right hand. I thought about that, and I'm like, well, it's his right hand. It's not his left hand. That's not what they were showing us. Maybe it was, but maybe it's just continuity. It was the wrong hand. I don't know. But later on down the road, we're going to get more as to, I mean, we hear this whole story from Sarah, a.k.a. Claire Dunphy from Modern Family. And, which, by the way, another side note, do you know who his best man is?
No.
Have you ever seen A Christmas Story?
Yeah.
His best man is Scud Farkus.
I haven't seen it that many times. Who's Scud Farkus?
Scud Farkus was the bully that bullies Ralphie, and then Ralphie finally goes off on him in the alley and starts beating him with his gloves and everything.
Ah.
That's Scud Farkas. That's his best man at his wedding. His best man is a bully. Jack's the worst.
Jack is the worst.
But you know, we're going to we find out from Sarah during the speech at the rehearsal dinner that she was in a head-on collision by an SUV. Very important to the future of the story, because it does connect to some other characters. And Jack was the one that saved her. Jack was the one that never gave up on her, and it's because of Jack she is able to walk. And I think that kind of comes into Jack's mind, is that he was able to not give up before and save someone. He kind of feels like he can do it every time.
Yeah, but okay, so I see what
I
you're
kind of
saying.
rambled for a little bit, but
It's okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, and I think that it's definitely worth mentioning. And it's great that he has that about him, but he's still a person that thinks that he is in the first world, because how good of a leader are you if you're going to use all of your resources, including yourself as the leader, for one person when there are 44 other people to take care of? And is that really a smart allocation of resources? And while he's barking orders at everybody and screaming at everybody and panicking, there's 3 people out in the woods that successfully deliver a baby to somebody who is trying to hold her breath and keep the baby inside.
No,
And so to me, there's like, this island can survive without Jack, because without Jack, they were able to successfully deliver a baby in the jungle.
I'm sorry. I just like the way you said that. Successfully able to deliver a baby.
Is what I'm saying.
But no, and I totally get that. I really do. But I'm looking at this again from a different perspective, as in, it's one of those situations where you just come under that mindset. Yet, and like, yes, I realize it's not good to give yourself and to give all these supplies that you have for one person. But it's a particular mindset that people have. I mean, you look at, again, I bring up first responders. These are people who, when a building is burning, nothing else matters at that point but to save a life. Nothing
Correct.
else matters but to go when everybody else is running out of that building. These are people whose mindset are, doesn't matter what happens to me, doesn't matter what else is going on around me. I have to get in there and I have to save the day.
Hey, look, I get it. That's fine. However, at the end of the day, they go back to their fully stocked firehouse.
Yeah, and you're
Okay?
absolutely right.
Get more things. And this is what I'm talking about, the mindset. He is not on this island mindset where they have a finite amount of supplies. And once they're out, and there's 44 other people that are going to eventually need something.
No, and I get that. It's just, it's at the time when that mindset clicks in, that's not a thought.
Hey, I get it. I really do. I understand it. I'm just saying, I just don't. I don't know when is the time that you stop, because I wouldn't want to stop either. So it's mainly a question of, when do you stop? When you're in a situation like this one, when do you stop? When do you say there's nothing more we can do? You know?
Yeah.
You could think of The Walking Dead, when there are certain characters that are hurt, and in the real world you repair a leg, or you repair an arm, or you do a simple surgery in today's world, whereas in that world somebody falls off of a building or gets their arm crushed or something, and you got to cut it off, or you got to let them die, because there's nothing you can do. Right. So it's just, when do you get to that point where you're like, we can't do anything except try and just find Shannon and stop the bleeding if we can, and just wait.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's an impossible situation, one that I hope I'm never in.
Me too. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I just, anytime. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
but then
ahead.
Jack fails, and the first thing he does is he blames someone else. Hey, and it is Locke's fault. Locke should have been Locke should have been truthful. He should have been truthful. But did he murder Boone?
No.
No.
And
he
that was
absolutely did not.
That was the point I was going to make when you said it's Locke's fault. And I was going to say, yes, it is Locke's fault. Locke was the one that encouraged Boone to climb up there. If it wasn't for that, the plane would have never came down with Boone in it. But yes, you're absolutely right, and I agree with you completely. Was it murder? Did Locke murder Boone? No, not at all. I don't agree with that at all.
And that's a pretty harsh stance to take with Jack. Maybe he needs to like eat a cookie and wait for the blood to return to his brain.
He needs a Snickers bar.
Yeah. He hungry? Why wait?
Exactly. Jack, you know how you get Jack when you're hungry. Eat a Snickers. Better, and he turns into, I don't know,
anyone else.
Lord Baelish.
No, he turns into Derek Shepherd from Grey's Anatomy.
There we go.
Hero doctor.
Better.
Hero doctor with great hair.
He turns into McDreamy from Grey's Anatomy.
Soulful eyes. Eat that Snickers, Jack. Be McDreamy.
Oh my God, I'm gonna make a meme of Jack from Lost with a Snickers bar. And you and I and some of our listeners will be the only ones to get it.
The only ones that understand it. And that's okay. I don't care. It's like your pocket full of Hurleys.
That's right. And I actually made that one too.
So I do have one more question for you before we move on to my number one.
Sure.
What do you think Boone was trying to say when he died?
At what moment?
Tell Shannon and then he died.
Oh. You know what? As much as I would like to overanalyze this, I think this was simply a tell Shannon I'm sorry, or I think this was simply a way of him of saying goodbye to Shannon.
Okay.
Or tell
too.
Shannon I say goodbye. Like it's
I thought that he was
tell her I love her,
like say, tell her I forgive her.
Or something like that. Yeah. I think this was just him. I don't think there was anything secretive about it. I think this was more just him and his way of making peace with Shannon.
Okay.
That's what I think.
I like it.
So, but that leads us to your number one.
Well, my number one is the B story, man.
Oh God. We're talking the B story of Claire's baby.
Claire's baby.
All righty.
The whole thing. You know what? I thought Jin was the star of this show. Only because Jin made huge strides forward. He heard someone yelling for help and he ran towards it. Whereas up until now, he minds his own business. He keeps his head down. He doesn't want to be a part. He doesn't want to assimilate. He ran into the jungle. He heard someone needed help. He gets there and he doesn't know the language, but he wants to help. You see it in his face. He takes that bag. He runs to Jin. He sees Sun and he does not want to see Sun. He wants to run, but he knows that Claire is on the line and he allows himself to be translated, which is huge because he is such a prideful character. And in this moment, he and Charlie, that they go back into the jungle. And when Claire is at her most scared, he reassures her and she talks to him. She doesn't talk to him like he's deaf or like he's a lesser person because he doesn't speak English. She talks to him like she would talk to her friend, like her family member. She doesn't care that he can't speak English. She just needs to feel better. And it's like they understood each other in that moment. And it was so beautiful. I think it was my favorite moment of the entire episode was that exchange between the two of them, because it's that reminder that it doesn't matter where you come from or what language you speak, that emotion can be understood between anybody.
Emotion is more of a universal language than actual language.
Yes. And I loved it. I loved it.
No, I can definitely see that. And to a point, too, to kind of not counter, but kind of build upon this a little bit, your focus was on Jin during those scenes. Mm-hmm. Mine was on Charlie. And because
Charlie acted like he just had a baby.
exactly, and I loved it. Like there were moments, and you could tell that Charlie and Claire have this connection, even though Claire might not remember it yet at this point, might not remember all of it yet at this point. Charlie very certainly does. And there's the moment where he hears that Claire's in pain and he instantly wants to rush to her side, and Jin is the one that kind of like stops him and just kind of shakes his head like, no, this is not where.
That was adorable.
But even more adorable was the moment that Aaron is born, the reaction from
hugs
him. Like when Jim, like with this big smile on his face, sticks out his hand to shake his hand and say like, hey, congratulations, like Charlie really is the father.
God, Charlie is like somehow the dad of this baby.
And Charlie just if you think about it though, Jin has seen these two characters together for a majority of the time that they're on the island. He doesn't speak English to understand that they're not together.
Never thought about it that way.
To Jin, Charlie very easily could be Aaron's father.
He thinks that they came together.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, that's awesome. Because you're totally right. He's like, congratulations. And Charlie like hugs him like and then I just loved it because Charlie's parading Claire down the beach like, look what I have done.
Exactly. I made a child.
Yes, like Tom Hanks when he makes fire in
I
Castaway.
made fire. But I mean, again, like thinking about that, Jin may very well not be aware that Charlie is not Aaron's father. Because he doesn't know. He doesn't speak the language.
You're probably right.
So he could believe that Charlie really is the father. And I think in a way, Charlie knowing the situation that Claire is in and that like she doesn't have anybody in her life. The father is not a part of the baby's life, not a part of her life. I feel like in many ways, Charlie believes in his heart he's kind of stepped up to be a surrogate father. And in many ways, that kind of plays out as the series progresses. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, while Charlie is not the father, and he's I was as happy for Charlie pretending to be a father as Charlie was to pretend to be a a new father.
Sadly, this is the closest that Charlie will ever get to fatherhood. So, go with it, buddy. Run with it.
Way to bring it down.
Well, that's what I do best. Jack is the worst. Charlie will never be a dad. That's me. Bringing the party down.
Good
Community
God.
wet blanket right here.
Charlie will never be a dad. You are horrible.
I know. Sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, I agree with you completely. That the B story of this is just fantastic. And it's a happy note, to what turns out to be a very sad moment with Boone's death. So, but I mean, it just goes to show too at the same time that, in death there can be life. And, it's strangely coincidental that these two things happen at the same time. They coincide with each other. But, and I heard somebody say before, like, this is a moment of reincarnation. And I was like, no, not really. 'Cause Aaron was born before Boone died. So, no, it's not reincarnation. But I could see with some of the religious undertones that this show carries how some people could believe that. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, whatever.
Aaron is not Boone.
That at all.
No.
No, but Aaron Boone is a famous baseball player.
Okay, then.
Apparently, one of the writers or showrunners or directors or something, I don't know, was a big Aaron Boone fan, and I guess that's why the baby's name was Aaron when Boone died.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I don't know. Yeah.
I did not know that.
I find out all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah. That's all right.
It's all right. Of course it's all right. I like having useless knowledge in my head.
Yeah.
That's why I podcast.
Yeah. That's all
Do you have any notes?
It's something fun. I have one, and it's really not anything major. There is an absolutely fantastic camera shot in this episode that I absolutely loved. So much so that I rewound it just to watch it again. There is the moment where Jin is on the beach and he's working on the raft and he hears Kate yelling for help. And there's that moment that he runs into the jungle, and when he stops to kind of focus on the yelling and the help to find out where it's coming from, there is that camera shot where the camera literally is spinning around Jin in one direction as Jin is turning looking in the other. And
Yeah, it was cool.
that is just one of the coolest camera shots. I absolutely, I've seen it before, but I love it when I see it because it is such a cool effect.
And it creates that moment of chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
Without in a quiet moment. I agree. It's funny because I had the thought when he was running through the woods that whenever I'm trying to hear something and it's in a situation like that where like if like my kids are calling me or if I'm trying to figure out where like a shot is coming from or something, I close my eyes and I'd like focus on it. And then it's like you have to like take away the rest of your senses in order to amplify the others. So I told myself, I'm like, Jin, close your eyes, Jin.
It works. It works for me.
Yeah. Well, while you were going, ooh, cool camera shot, I'm like, close your eyes, Jin.
That's all right.
Yeah. All right.
How about you? Any other notes for the episode?
So the only thing that we didn't really talk about that I thought was probably worth noting is Jack's alcoholism. I believe that we start to see kind of the beginnings of it in the flashbacks over the wedding. You know, he's sitting on the side of the pool and he's drinking vodka out of a pretty large bottle, and that bottle is not full. You know, he's drinking at the piano and he's draining the last of that drink. Him and his best friend are talking about having 8 drinks to get ready for, you know, his speech or whatever. You know, so it's just interesting to me that, you know, we already know that Christian Shepherd is an alcoholic by what we've learned so far. And it was interesting to me to see elements of Jack's alcoholism start to pop up.
Well, but here's a question that I have for you, though. And when it comes to Jack's alcoholism, when is that really prevalent in the series? Because for the life of me, I can't remember Jack being an alcoholic.
When they came back from the island, I think he was drinking a lot when he wanted to go back to the island, and Kate was pretty much by herself trying to raise Aaron, and he was kind of just drinking himself to death.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess, there is that. But to me, that just kind of doesn't fall into the timeline because Jack's wedding is before the whole disbarment of Christian Shepherd and
Right.
Christian Shepherd's death.
Right.
So is this something that maybe was just kind of the seeds were planted that this was something he was eventually bound to become an alcoholic?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I just think that it was because all of his flashbacks have been focused a lot on Christian Shepherd's alcoholism. When Christian Shepherd in this episode took one swig out of that bottle, and Jack was seen drinking in every single one of those flashbacks.
So this is something more of like this is something early on set that has yet to just kind of come about.
I think so. I do. I mean, I always remember Jack struggling with you know, excessive drinking. Alcoholic father.
And if that's the case too, then it could also be that, you know, you can look at it in a way of that eventually Jack becomes more like his father than he wants to be.
Right. Well, he is his father, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because they're both the worst.
Yeah.
Des Combs.
Oh, that's right. He doesn't like it when you go after Jack.
No, he doesn't.
I forgot about that. Yeah, Des doesn't like it.
We've started a messenger war.
Yeah, Des does not like it when Kirsten goes after Jack. So, Des, if it's any, if it means anything, I only say Jack is the worst because I have to.
Oh yeah, you're forced.
No, I agree. There are points when Jack legitimately is the worst. But hey, for this episode,
he was excellent in this episode.
Yes,
I actually have my very last note in my notes is Jack was almost perfect in this episode, Boone was not murdered. Jack is blinded by grief of failure. That's the last thing I wrote.
Because I did say I gained a lot of respect from Jack in this episode in my defense.
Yeah.
And I still agree with that.
He did pretty good. He'll be back to being an asshole next week.
Well, at least we know what's coming.
And you know what? Knowing is half the battle.
Exactly.
The more you know.
Um,
Yeah, but that's it. That's
okay. All right. So no other notes for the episode.
No.
He'll be back to being an asshole next week.
We interrupt our regular asshole Jack programming for a break as he tries to save Boone's life and fails.
And fails because he was murdered. No, he wasn't murdered. No, but I mean, next week's episode. I mean, again, we're going full fledged, man, to the end. I mean, next week the greater good is.
Saeed.
Is it a Saeed episode?
Yes, it is, son.
Okay. No, you said Saeed. Not son. Bad
Hey,
joke.
man.
Bad joke. Sorry.
That's a dad joke.
Train derail. So, okay, yeah. So, I mean, we're getting closer. I mean, there's still quite a few things in my head that I know we have to get through between now and the end of the season. I mean, we have the raft launching. We have the Black Rock. We haven't seen the last of Danielle Rousseau yet before the end of this season. Oh, God, there's so much. There's so much still yet to happen, and there's only 4 episodes left to do it. So it's going to be interesting as we progress further on. But let's shift gears for a minute, and let's talk about Manifest.
Okay.
Jump into the Manifest minutes. So this week's episode of Manifest, Off the Rails, which was season 1, episode 6.
I think it was Off Radar.
Off Radar, Off the Rails. Oh my God.
You've gone off the rails.
I've gone off the rails. That's what the name of this episode should be. It's Off the Rails.
Put it in the show notes. It'll be fine.
Yeah, there we go. No, Off Radar. You're right. In which is a heavy Cal episode. But, I mean, Ben and Michaela do play a very big part in this as well, as does Sanvi. So we're getting back to the core group of people for this, but we're getting more questions. And I do have a theory that is kind of building in my head, and I'll put it to you. I have a feeling that as much as they believe the NSA and Director Vance are behind everything, I don't think they are.
No, they're totally in the dark. You saw that by the end of the episode.
They're totally clueless, and not only that, but I think they're going to have an ally in Vance soon. Now, I do think I think Director Vance is clueless. I don't think Deputy Powell is. I think his second in command knows more than what he leads on.
Yeah, that guy's a snake.
He is. But I think Vance is going to be on their side, and relatively
I like it too,
soon.
Because I'm glad too, because I didn't like the fact that Jake is trying to, fish for information to Michaela, and Michaela doesn't know who she can trust right now, and she took a big leap by talking to Jake.
Jared.
Jared. Yep, Jared. Jared.
Go ahead.
I can't retain that character's name for some reason. If I'm not writing it down, I'm lost.
I didn't say, "Hey, idiot, it's Jared." I just said Jared. I wasn't.
No, I know,
criticizing.
but I don't like making mistakes.
Oh God, you shouldn't be podcasting with me then.
Especially this episode.
Yeah.
But Michaela and Ben, they both took a pretty big leap and told the people that are closest to each of them, right? Grace for Ben and Jared for Michaela.
Yeah.
And Jared was a lot better than Grace. I mean, Grace just disappointed me so much in this episode. When she told Ben, I believe in magic planes that bring my husband and my son back from the dead. So I'm willing to believe anything. So he tells her what's going on, and she immediately discredits it. No, that's crazy. You're crazy. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I mean, I get it. Like, you're scared for your son, but your son just came back from a magic airplane, and now he's sick and he's speaking a different language. And, there are weird things that are happening. Your life is completely turned upside down. How is this out of the realm of possibility right now? Especially if you're ready to believe anything.
Well, I mean, looking at it, and again, just playing devil's advocate slightly, because I'm on your side with that completely. But looking at it from Grace's perspective, this is her son who you're sitting watching, literally dying on a table without knowing what the hell is going on. It's one thing to believe, in magic planes and all this stuff that they said, but when it comes to the core of your heart and everything that's going on, can you not blame her a little bit for being the way that she was?
No, I can't. Honestly, I don't know what I would do as a mom, but if he goes on the antibiotics, it could kill him because it'll kick him out of the trial. Right? And your husband, who you're supposed to be trusting right now, is telling you that there's something that's happening to him, and there's something that's happening to Cal, and there's something that's happening to Michaela, and they can't explain it. And they were on that plane. And I would like to think that I would give my husband the benefit of the doubt here.
Okay. No, I mean, and again, I wasn't disagreeing with.
No, I know.
With that.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of trying to look at it from both perspectives. And that's one of the things I actually really did like about this episode is that, we compare the show to Lost, and that's one of the reasons why we're including it in this podcast.
Manifest minutes.
But we're not, when it comes to shows like Lost and maybe the 4400, which, by the way, is going to be rebooted. I didn't know if you knew about that, but they are.
I did not know.
They are rebooting the 4400.
Really excited.
Where you don't kind of see both sides of everything. You just kind of see one side of it, and you're expected to go along with it. And this show kind of throws that monkey wrench into the gears of that. Yeah, this is what these other people are thinking at the same time. And, seeing it from Grace's perspective. Now, I mean, you're right. Where Grace is a little more hesitant to get on board than Jared was. But seeing her, I think the situation would be a little bit different where, like, if Cal had a slight fever and they were still at home and Ben had put all this in front of Grace probably would have been a little more acceptant and said, yes, I believe you, do what you have to do. But the fact that her son is literally dying on a bed and nobody can explain it, I can kind of see her hesitation a little bit come through. I can see why her hesitation came through. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I spent the whole episode going back and forth with both perspectives and what I would think. So, I mean, it's difficult to say exactly what, but I just know that the whole episode I was just kind of like, come on, Grace, just give him a little bit. I just think she's been kind of closed off anyways. She didn't tell him about Danny. She didn't tell him about Olive and kind of what they've gone through with Olive. He's kind of left flailing in the dark, and it sucks because as far as Ben is concerned, it's only been a couple of hours that he was gone, and he's thrust into this weird alternate dimension. But on the other side of the coin, Grace has been by herself for 5.5 years. Again, it's one of those impossible situations that you just hope always remains fiction.
Yeah, exactly. And oh God, I had a point and I forgot it. It totally went out of my head. I had a point I was going to make, and I completely forgot. But I mean, another one point I wanted to make too, and it was something that kind of made me laugh a little bit, was there's that situation in the beginning of the episode where Michaela is talking to, I forget who it was. She was talking to some woman at the beginning, and how, oh, it's another passenger from the plane.
Yeah.
And how, she says that she
the
comes home.
translator.
Yeah, she comes home to be served divorce papers, and then Michaela shares her story of like her fiance married her best friend, and the translator says like, why can't these men just keep it in their pants for 5 years? I'm like, they thought you were dead. Like you wouldn't want your significant other to move on if you pass on. Like it's not like you were away for 5 years and
yeah, but I don't know that I would ever be able to move on from a plane that just disappears. I mean, unless I know what's going on with that plane, yeah. I mean, it would be hard for me to move on, almost impossible.
But
really.
But at the same time, we know that it was also hard for Jared to move on, and it was hard for Grace to move on. We don't know the story of this husband that served her divorce papers, but I have a feeling he was probably a dick. The fact that
is he related to Jack?
Probably.
Yeah.
Jack and Christian, long lost relative, cousin from second marriage. But the fact that he was able to serve divorce papers the moment she got off the plane pretty much means that he had them ready to go in case she ever came back. So he was probably a dick. But just that, for some reason, that comment made me laugh.
Yeah.
But I do remember the other point I was going to make. And I was kind of, now it's a little hazy because it's been 2 weeks since Manifest was last on. There was a break last week. And, we're seeing this whole kind of broken trust between Grace and Ben, and that Grace is like, she wants to believe in what Ben's saying, but, her son is taking precedence, Cal's taking precedence over everything. I thought last week when the episode ended, we were already seeing a marriage broken and like a marriage getting ready to end. And it seems like now all of a sudden everything's back to normal. Do I remember things incorrectly?
I think that I think that they were honest with each other about kind of what, Ben acknowledged the fact that she has had to take an impossible situation and try and make something of it. And he acknowledged that, that she had another relationship and that, she has every right to kind of mourn that relationship. I think that they both want to remain together. And especially in a situation where, their son is fighting for his life. I think that we're supposed to feel that way right now is kind of what is their marriage up in the air. And I think ultimately they probably will not remain together. I think that the show is setting up for Ben and Sanvi to be together.
I saw that too this episode. I'm glad I'm not the only one that picked up on that.
No, I think that they're setting that up. I think that Michaela will end up with Jared eventually. I also think that all of this front drama is kind of a red herring for what is really going on. Like, okay, is this like an X-Files thing that's happening in the background? Where did those 5 buses, or where did that one bus go? And what's happening with those people? Why are they, almost killing this man and then, escaping to somewhere else? And, what is the NSA's role in this, that they don't know what's going on, but some of them might. I'm so much more interested in that.
Well, not only
anything
that,
else.
Not only that, but now we're also getting kind of like the dharma of the show in that there is another company behind this. The company that that Michaela finds out was the one that contracted the buses to go in and pick everybody up.
There's always a company. Do you remember
Prison Break?
Prison Break.
It was literally called The Company.
I was called The Company. And in Blacklist, it's called The Cabal. And, in Lost, it's the Dharma Initiative. And, in Walking Dead, it's Georgie's faction of people. Who knows? Imagine, there's always a company. There's always a they. As Tyrion Lannister would say, they, the proverbial they.
But, I mean, at the same time, too, we're also seeing at the end that that company has their hands in a lot of different things that they're not even thinking about, including the technology that Ben is using to track everything.
Yeah, right.
We get that kind of glimpse at the end that the the system that he is using on his tablet is by that company.
Was that a what was that company called?
It's,
United
I don't remember.
United Alliance Systems, I think.
Something maybe. I for the life of me,
I have to
don't
look
remember.
it up, but
Yeah.
I think that that's going to be our new Dharma initiative. I think that we're going to hear the anagram for that. No, not anagram. Is that right? Anagram?
The letters.
Acronym. The acronym. I think we're going to hear the acronym for that from here on out. I think that was kind of like our little setup to the company that we're going to be dealing with.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I think I think you're right. I think that's something we're going to see play out a lot throughout the rest of the show. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out, because I know we're only on episode 6. We're about a third of the way through the show, so still plenty of time for things to form and take effect. But I mean, I know one of the things that you had said earlier on was you didn't like the casting of Melissa Roxborough as Michaela. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you one thing, though. The character of Michaela is starting to grow on me, because she is showing balls of steel, man. You know, when it comes to, like, that whole moment where they're pulling over at that farmhouse in upstate New York, and she's just, like, puncturing the tire, and she's not afraid of these guys with guns, and she wants to know what the hell's going on, and she's not afraid what it's going to take to find out.
Yeah, I agree. I like the character Michaela a lot. I think that it's an interesting character. I like it that they're setting her up to be kind of the leader of all of this. You know, I'm very interested to see what happens with her in the future. So yeah, I mean, I like the character of Michaela.
Unified Dynamic Systems, UDS.
You looked it up.
No, well, it's I'm on the IMDb page, and there's a Unified Dynamic Scientist listed. So it's
Okay.
UDS, United.
UDS.
Yep.
We're going to hear
Dynamics.
UDS a lot now.
Yes. I agree. I think that's going to play into the effect a lot. Mm-hmm. So especially with Vance kind of onto their trail too, or at least not knowing UDS, but he knows that there's something going on now.
Right.
And it's a matter of, is he going to bring Ben and Michaela, or at least Ben, because Ben was the one that confronted him, is he going to bring Ben into the fold? And I think he will. I think he might be a little hesitant at first, but I think within like the next 2 or 3 episodes, we're going to see these two characters on the same page.
Yeah, I will agree with you there. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I like how things are coming together. And I was watching it with my mom. She was just in town this week, and she goes, "Do you think that they like have a plan for any of this, or are they just like writing this week to week?" I go, "Mom, you can't pitch a show unless you have like a full idea." I go, "They have an idea of where they're going with this." She goes, "You think so? Because this is a lot of pieces." I go, "Yeah, puzzles are great, Mom. This is kind of what TV's doing right now."
Did Lost have a plan? And as we're proving as we go through, yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah, Lost had a plan. You may not like it, but
Yeah.
Lost had a plan.
you may not have believed that they had one, and you may not liked what the plan was, but they had one from the start.
Yep.
Because I mean, as our friend Steve is even coming to grips with, he didn't think the show had a plan, and in listening to us, he's starting to realize that there are some things in this first season that don't play out until the 5th. That he's starting to realize, yeah, these guys had a plan. So, but on that note, unless you have anything else for the Manifest Minutes.
No, I don't. Only that I dig this show.
I dig it too. So
I dig it. Catch it.
let's move
Cotton.
into let's move into some of, where is that from?
It's from Dodgeball.
That's what I thought.
Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman.
Cotton.
It's a bold strategy for him. Let's see if it works. I love that movie so much. And Bateman's one of the best parts of that movie.
He is the best part of that movie.
Oh, God.
All right.
I kind of broke.
Let's go into feedback.
I broke away. So feedback this week, as always, our buddy Steve, who we just mentioned, left us a voicemail. He left us two, actually, like he did last week. He left us one for Lost, and he left us one for Manifest. So first up, let's play his voicemail for Lost.
Hello, Ben and Kristin. This is for Do No Harm. Thought it was interesting that the very beginning, the very first thing Jack is looking for is a tube to insert into Boone's lung. And if you remember in the first episode, I think it was the first episode, Boone was looking for a pen so that they could do the tracheotomy on the woman. Thought that was interesting. Jack has a lot of faith in Kate that he sends her to deliver the baby, and Jack's "Don't tell me what I can't do" was interesting. Also, Shannon's "I don't want to go back" when Saeed asked her if she wanted to go back. Again, Saeed so chivalrous, but also hopeful. I thought that was a great line when he told her that he was willing to wait. This is a good Jack episode. Like, we don't really get bad Jack in this episode, or Jack's the worst. I mean, there's a little bit of ego when he's talking to Sun and Charlie about trying to save Boone, and them telling him that he can't, and him saying that he will, but then him being willing to let Boone accept his own fate. I teared up a little bit when we couldn't hear what Boone's message to Shannon would have been. Was it going to be "I love you," or was it going to be "I'm sorry"? According to the closed captioning, there was an I starting there, but then, of course, he died. And I realized something that I think I hadn't ever seen before, is that Jack is trying to recapture the hero who he was to his wife, who we're going to see him lose that in future episodes. And now, here on the island, he's getting the chance to recapture being a hero. And also, I forgot that we saw no John Locke this episode at all. So, can't wait to hear what you guys say. Talk to you later.
As confirmed by Steve, Jack is not the worst this episode.
I love that. I'm glad that that's catching on.
But no, and it's funny. He mentioned the whole comparison of the tube to Boone's lungs to, Boone being the one that Jack sent to find the pen. And I did think about that, but for some reason I didn't write that down in my notes. So, but yeah, that's an interesting comparison to make at the same time. So
yeah, I agree with most of what he said.
And yeah, Saeed being hopeful.
I love that. I didn't have expectations.
Hopeful,
maybe.
Yeah, hopes maybe. So yeah, that was good. And as we mentioned already, no John Locke this episode, but they're in spirit in, Don't Tell Me What I Can't Do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's play his... Huh?
Off Radar?
Yeah, let's play his voicemail for Off Radar.
This is for Manifest Minutes, the Off Radar. Hi, Off Radar. Hi, Ben and Kristin. I really like the NSA agent. He makes a comment when he walks into the bar, the barn, and he says, "I've made a lot of things disappear in my life." And I thought that was a really interesting comment coming from him. I'm reminded of how young Cal is by seeing him clutching that stuffed animal in the hospital bed. And when the one character said, "Buses don't just disappear," the girl said, "Why not? Planes do." They mentioned Woodbury, and I was reminded of The Walking Dead. And I really felt for Grace in the hospital in that scene in the bathroom when she just breaks down, and it really got to me. So I really like this episode. Can't wait to hear what you guys think.
Cool.
Steve, I dig you, man. I love all of your voicemails. I think you're amazing.
And I appreciated the voicemail for Off Radar. Just kidding, Steve.
Off Radar was my favorite episode.
Off Radar, yeah, especially the scene in the bar.
So much better than Off Radar.
Or Off the Rails, as I called it earlier. No, I love when Steve leaves
it. Know that he's also off the rails a little bit this week. That helps.
Off Radar and the bar. Not the barn, the bar. No, and I love it when Steve leaves his voicemails too. I always look forward to getting those emails whenever he sends us the voicemails. So, but if any of you out there, listeners, would like to leave us voicemail as well, which we hope you do, because we love getting the feedback and we love being able to read and play it over the air when we record. But there are multiple ways that you can do that. First, we are on Facebook at facebook.com/Lost Revisited.
We are on Instagram at Lost Revisited Pod.
You can email us at lostrevisitedpod@gmail.com.
And if you want to leave us a message, you can record yourself and send it to our email address like Steve does every week, and we love it.
Yes, we do. Last but not least, we of course want to encourage you to check out all of the other podcasts that we have on both the Next Level Podcast Network and the Podcastica Podcast Network, including House Podcastica, Kristin, which is your other podcast on Podcastica that I was on last week.
Yes, you were. It was great fun having you on, and I loved having you on. So if anybody wants to hear us talk about Game of Thrones instead of Lost and Manifest, jump on over to housepodcastica.com, where Ben so kindly made a website for us, and check it out.
Yeah. But on top of that,
you?
I was just going to say, on top of that, Walking Dead Cast is another great one on Podcastica, which, with the exit of Rick Grimes, was a big week to listen to that podcast this week. Mm-hmm. I know you and I have our differences about that a little bit, but for the most part, I think we're in complete agreement that Walking Dead is back to being one of the best shows on TV. And this past week, whether we agree with the ending or not, was a phenomenal episode.
One of the best I've seen.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Easily one of the best.
Greg Nicotero did an incredible job.
Yeah. But on my end of the spectrum with Next Level Podcast Network, I have, of course, The Spotlight, which is my celebrity interview podcast, which I do have a couple scheduled, but they're a little ways out, only because of the fact that they're promoting books and I have to read the books. So, but it's cool because I like the fact that they reached out to me. I didn't reach out to them.
That's great.
And they're sending me their books to read, which is kind of cool. It's a new aspect of the podcast. But, in the meantime, I'm still working on some other people from TV shows like The Goldbergs, and I'm going to start working on people from Brooklyn Nine-Nine soon and such. And then, of course, there's DC Primetime, which is our podcast, our weekly podcast breaking down all of the CW Arrowverse shows, Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, and Legends of Tomorrow. So, and that can be, all of those can be found at Next Level, which is nextlevelradioonline.com.
And I would like to say again that Steve Brown has his own podcast, Panels to Pixels, with Mark Kirkman on your network.
Yeah.
So if you like Steve's voicemails every week, go and check him out on Panels to Pixels with our other buddy Mark.
Yep, and they talk about the Marvel TV shows at the moment. They're talking about all the Netflix shows like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and such. So yeah, that's another great podcast that we host over on Next Level.
Yes.
So, any last words before we wrap things up for the week?
If you voted, good for you.
Yeah, and if you didn't, shame on you. No, I can't really say that.
Shame.
Oh, I wish I had that sound effect.
Yeah. No, just everybody have a great weekend since it's Friday. Enjoy payday. Enjoy life. Get ready for Turkey Day. Woo-hoo!
Oh God, Turkey Day. Yes, and can we please celebrate Turkey Day before we start celebrating Christmas?
Please and thank you.
Like I'm tired of Christmas in September.
I did buy some Christmas decorations yesterday.
Buying Christmas decorations is okay. Don't put them up.
No, not until December. It has to be December, but that's just.
And I'll give it till I'll give it till Thanksgiving, because I mean that used to be the tradition, was that Santa came at the end of the Thanksgiving Day parade. That was the way of marking that Santa has come to town. Not in September. I love the memes that of the turkey screaming at Santa like, "Back off, fat boy, it's my turn."
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong. I love Christmas. I adore Christmas. One holiday at a time, please. One holiday at a time. I won't even listen to Christmas music. Or I've budged to the point where I'll watch Christmas movies and listen to Christmas music on Thanksgiving, but not before.
All right.
So, Sorry, that was my weekly rant.
Yeah, I see that.
But with that being said, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of We Have to Go Back. Next week, we're going to talk about The Greater Good, which is episode 21 of season 1 of Lost.
Yay.
So,
Done.
be sure to get that feedback into us as quickly as possible, and we'll be able to read it or play it on the podcast. Be sure to leave us a review on iTunes if you have not already, and you feel compelled to do so. We would appreciate it. But other than that, I got nothing else. You?
Me neither.
Cool.
Nope, I'm good.
That being said, then, we'll see you guys down the road and further down the rabbit hole. See ya.
Later.
We have to go back, Kate. We have to go back!